We're traveling with the famed Blade of Frontiers. I feel safer already. Oh, what's to tell? I'm a magistrate back in the city. It's all rather tedious.
The Blade of Frontiers at your calling. Karlach's fires raged in Baldur's Gate before she escaped to Avernus, as my source told it, and she was planning to return. One of the archdevils Zariel's own, Chaos Incarnate, a devil with pure fire for a heart. I made my way to Avernus to stop her. She fled from my reach, even climbed aboard the Mind Flayer ship as it screeched through the hells. I followed in close pursuit. I can't bear to imagine the lives Karlach might be taking, the damage she might be doing. A powerful friend with a keen interest in privacy. I'm sworn to say no more. You are a warlock. You know about bound souls and frozen tongues. I can only leave the rest to your imagination. Suffice to say, I hunt monsters, devils included, and I will do what I can to quench the coast of their flames. My father once said, "One does not pursue a champion's life. One merely answers its call." So it was for me. I was hunting near the Cloakwood when I heard it. A child crying out from a lone farmstead. I found him in the fields, flanked by goblins. His mother's corpse bled into the soil next to him. I don't remember much of the battle, but I remember drying the boy's tears after. Tell that to the boy shivering over his mother's ravaged corpse. It makes me angry to think about it still. Angry at the monsters preying on innocents. Angry at the so-called good gods for tolerating the cruelty of the evil. Angry must be made. But that story is reserved for lifetime friends and calmer days.
Tiny grooves spider across the ice surface. It resembles a sending stone used to confer with distant contacts.
A sending stone? Nothing so special, I assure you.
His breathing quickens, his jaw tenses. Will is keeping something from you. A strange sensation courses through you, and your companion's mind unfolds, secrets half revealed. You focus on the source of the power, but it is quiet and still. It needs to rest.
Gladly. Anything more we should discuss? I've come to know a fair few village clerics, but none with the skill to pull these worms from our heads. From what I understand, there's a healer called Nettie in the Grove. Perhaps she's got the talent. We should pay her a visit. Seems unusual to me. Then again, we're talking about tadpoles inserted into our brains by rubber-skinned tentacle monsters. There's nothing usual about it. All the more reason to stick close. I think you'll agree. That's the spirit.
I've known a few warlocks in my time. Talented, of course, though sometimes too eager to listen to the devils on their shoulders. Comes with the territory, unfortunately.
No one stopped me yet.
We meet again, as predicted. I shall be here in thy camp for whenever thou hast need of my services. There are many answers to that question. None are important. Correct. No. Beyond mortal realms, there doth exist an amalgamation of spirits akin to thine own, ensnared by the treacherous cult of the Absolute, felled in its name. They bear great discontentment with their destiny. For a mere pittance of coin, I might summon the worthiest among them to lend aid to thy undertaking. Suspicion always haunts the guilty mind. My services are all that I can proffer thee. What thou wilt do with them is for thee to undertake. Should thou or any of thy compatriots perish, I will cleave soul to body once more. Amusing. Because it is my calling. There is little else to explain. A matter of coin.
The Blade of Frontiers. Let's hope Will lives up to his name. We'll need all the help we can get. I understand why you ask, but memory loss is not as uncommon as you'd think. There may be other causes. There's no story. None that you're entitled to hear, anyway. Just forget you ever saw it.
The Githyanki people have a word for men like the Blade of Frontiers. Shalak. Roughly translated, idealist do-gooder. Or better yet, benevolent burden. His confidence is an asset. His pursuit of valor, not so much. Entirely. I was as devoted to my studies as I was to my training. Each creche contains a Zaithisk purification device. So I learned from the writings in the Kalir Library. The library was a gift from Vlaakith herself, that we may gain total understanding. Countless scholars roam the astral sea and beyond, observing the ways of our lessers, exploring planes so distant, order turns to chaos, and cold fires rage. The planes are ever quaking, and their peoples ever shifting. The Githyanki possess an eternity of knowledge. Yet we still collect more. Infinities upon infinities. I expect I am your first. Of course you haven't. They would have cut you from navel to neck. You are no less alien to me than I am to you. I know of your kind, but I do not often encounter them. That large, fleshy nose of yours looks like a mistake. It was an observation, not a compliment. No matter. I do not intend to stay long in this place. Ceramorphosis takes all of you. Mind, body, soul. An ordinary tadpole would eat at your memories until they were lost to the void. But our tadpoles are far from ordinary. I wonder if another factor's in play. I understand much beyond your comprehension. More to the point, I know the cure for our condition. It is imperative we locate a creche. You do well to observe more and question less.
So, not a tentacle to be seen. Naturally, but I was thinking, what if it doesn't? Of course, first sign of change, and I'll have to stop that pretty little heart of yours. I am open to suggestions. Knives, poison, strangulation, whatever you'd prefer. Well, that's a little dramatic, don't you think? Come on, humor me. If you had to choose. A classic. One good thrust to the heart and you're gone. We need a good blade, of course. Don't want to waste time hacking and prodding with a dinner knife. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself. This is all a worst-case scenario, obviously. Oh, my dear. I'd like to see you try. Now, let's get some rest. The sooner we start tomorrow, the better our chances of keeping this hypothetical.
All's well that ends.
I couldn't help but overhear. Well, alright, I could have helped, but didn't. Anyway, I feel the same. Other than the occasional mental exchange, it's almost as if we're not infected. The voice on the ship told me I'd become a beautiful weapon. What do you think it meant? Whatever they were, those plans were interrupted by the dragons. Either way, we can't take the lack of symptoms for granted. We have to find a healer. Well, I've said my piece. Get some rest.
Abominations grow inside us. Our bones should ache. Our mouths should bleed. Yet we thrive. It is madness. Keep your rest short. Time is not our ally.
Question for you. Have you ever heard a banshee scream? Incredible, wasn't it? Loud enough to wake the dead and shrill enough to shatter a golden goblet. I thought it the most terrible noise in all 16 planes. But there's one even more fearsome than that. Oh, the lad's quite the tease. But he's a charming sort of cad. Well, most of the time. No, I was thinking of a far more loathsome sound. The doubt in our minds crying out for attention. It's hopeless, it says. Stop resisting. Give up and give in. Doubt is the greatest villain we face. Greater than all the hell's devils. Greater than a murderous god. Most people don't find it so easy to conquer. It's a good thing for us that we aren't most people. Slay your doubt and nothing can stop you. Not a demon, not a dragon, and certainly not an illithid worm. I'm glad to see you're not one to give up.
Be with you in a moment. Indulging in a spot of vanity. Handsome devil, aren't I? Be that as it may. Ceramorphosis. What does it make you think of? Spot on. Day 1, fever and memory loss. Day 2, hallucinations and graying skin. Day 3, hair loss and blood leaking from all orifices. Need to go on? My point is this. Our orifices remain blissfully unblooded, our heads remain clear, and our blood temperature normal. Any expert will agree this is abnormal. That, alas, is where my knowledge fails me. A rogue might call it luck, a priest might call it fate. As for myself, I'm a pragmatic. I see the silence before the storm. Something to sleep on. We should get some rest.